This is the Tom Bigby Tales. I'm your host, Shannon Evans, and I write about a small town in Northeast Mississippi called Columbus, and sometimes I write about the rest of the state. Today, I have with me a guest, Missy Lee Sterling, and we're here to dispute this assumption that I'm Missy and Missy's me. And this is kind of fun. And we're just we've been friends and done some work together professionally and some film work, etc. Do you want to identify yourself? I've got a piece of mail. I'm going to put it up. Here's
Yep,
mine.
I think the accusation was actually that you and the other woman and me were all the same person.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah.
so
Well,
yeah,
and
that was the accusation that I don't know I don't know where that really came from because we don't none of us really speak alike. Our ways of communicating are vastly different.
well, I
Other
think
than
because we were both professional in our response, because
yeah,
it wasn't emotion based. We asked questions and that was, I don't know, questions seem to be threatening. Um,
I
so
scratch
the
some stuff out.
background on this is there is a university in our hometown called Mississippi University for Women. There you
That's me. That's me.
are. That's you. Okay.
That's me.
We're Mississippi University for Women, and it's being renamed. And there's a renaming committee, and they've popped out the second or third name. And the last one was Brightwell, which created an uproar and was immediately met with um, disdain. And so then 3 weeks later, they magically came back with another title, and that's Windbridge. So they can keep the nickname, the W. But the whole problem is um, the alumni are not, as a whole, happy with this change. So
Let me ask you this, Shannon, because this is something I haven't understood. What did they hope to accomplish by changing the name?
they're trying to improve. Justine's joining us. They're trying to improve enrollment.
Okay, so improve enrollment of men, right?
Yeah.
Because okay.
So just
And the,
so just to know, Justine's joining us, but she's not going to have camera because she's in Scotland, and the bandwidth won't. Otherwise we'd have to be on WhatsApp or something like that. So, hey, Justine, are you there?
Unmute your mic, Justine, down at the bottom. She might be muted.
I
It's
don't
gonna
think it
say
may take a
far
minute.
left. Yeah, she might just take a minute to come on.
Let us know when you're on, Justine. Just bump in. So the whole point was they were trying to improve enrollment
Of
and
men, of the male
of men,
population.
yeah. So the male population, and also some women don't want to go to an all women's school. So it's a perception issue, allegedly. I think it's more than that.
Allegedly.
I think it's, the condition of the campus. Buildings are dated. We have buildings that are still damaged from the tornado and the flatline winds. Anyways, I think it's a bigger issue, and I think that needs to be addressed. But
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot that needs to be addressed. What did you do to determine that your numbers are down and you're not, bringing in as much men not coming in and graduating from your school, or that's the reason for it? Because there's so many things that can be done. Rebranding would be the last thing I looked at if I was looking at why my enrollment numbers were down, because it's
well,
a systemic
rebranding
issue.
usually makes your numbers go down drastically immediately after. And
Right. Yeah.
I
And
think it's disastrous. Hang on a second. Justine, are you there?
Justine's like she's talking up a storm. Hold on, I'm telepathic. Let me see what she's saying. Hold on, just
No, you can't telepath her Scottish accent.
yes,
Sorry.
yes, I can. Sure, I can. She's like, what's wrong with these crazy? I can hear them just fine. Good deal.
So
Um,
anyways, that's the whole thing. But what
right.
happens is caused a firestorm. And I they hired a new branding person that for some reason,
Laura.
yeah, Laura Tubbs Prestwich. And she's a W alum, and she's very inexperienced in the academic branding world. Suddenly is brought on all these new pals.
hmm
Okay, she's going to power up another phone and get in.
Okay.
Um, and so they've hired this person who doesn't have experience in academia or or any school as far as doing any branding work. She's done some influencer work on Instagram and
I've
a few
seen it.
other, huh?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've seen her
Yeah.
work.
And so, well, that's not unimportant work. It's very different than branding for a university. And you and I both have worked in some of that area.
Yeah,
My
collegiate.
my yeah, mine was in collegiate licensing. I am
Mine's
not a brander. That's branding is not my thing, but I have worked with universities on uh creating an online presence. I've worked with them on SEO work. I've worked with them on creating content that's search optimized, and uh I've helped two universities with a name change. Well, colleges. One was in Utah and one
Mhm.
was in Maryland. And so well, actually I said Utah. I'm sorry. The one was in Idaho, but we were in Utah doing the work.
Right.
So because
Yeah.
we were with a Utah university
Right.
helping them. And so it's a different beast altogether.
Oh, it's totally different. So like my background would be I was director of marketing for Southern. Have you ever heard of Southern Belle T-shirts? I don't
Mhm.
know of anybody
Yeah, yeah.
listed that's not. Kim Lavorne founded them. Okay. So it got to a point, she sold the distribution rights to Gold One Group, and that's where I came in. They hired me on as their director of marketing, and I was responsible for securing the licensing across all SEC teams. And by the time I was done, we got them all. But then we had to incorporate that into the Southern Belle brand. I learned just how nuanced that that kind of branding
It
was.
is. It's very
It's its own
nuanced.
category. Yeah. You have there's I mean Southern Belle had a cult following, but so do all these SEC teams. So you have to. It's very nuanced, and it's concerning to hire someone who doesn't have any experience in that. But that's not to say we're putting anyone down because they don't, because they could get her some training, do something,
They
but just
could,
be
but they don't have
transparent.
time. It's like,
Yeah.
well, hang on. I think Justine's here. Justine, you want to unmute?
If she wants to call me on my cellular phone,
Your cellular.
that's what my grandma Sterling would
Oh,
say.
there she comes. You there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, you're here. Yay!
Yes.
Finally.
Hello.
That's okay.
Right, sorry about that.
So, Justine, we're talking
Hi,
about,
Missy. Hi, Shannon.
hey,
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 how
darling,
are you?
Yes.
you got too many phones going.
The what?
You got too many phones going.
It's a long story. I've got two phones. I'm trying to transfer from one to the other, and well, anyway, I'm using one as a router at the moment.
Okay. So what we're well, welcome to our world. So what we're talking about is the fact that the person they hired to do branding doesn't have collegiate branding experience. And we're not putting down their branding experience. We're saying that they're that the university has hired an unknown based on the fact of emotion. It's emotion based because, quote, she loves the university and she
She's
wants
branded
to
some
succeed.
influencer. Oh, and she babysat when she was 18.
Oh yeah,
But she listed her credentials, and that was great. But the appeal to emotion, and I'm also a diversity hire because I was injured by COVID. Like we all have life stuff. That's like for someone to represent a university and go online and say those things, I would be mortified as
well, and I as a person who, if I were the HR director, I'd be going, what? You
yeah,
know,
you don't post until you run it by me first.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the other thing is, let's dig into the part where Justine, we showed a piece of mail each to prove where we were. It's hard to
Yeah.
do because I know you don't have the camera on, but
Here, you can hear the three of our voices and tell that we are not the same person. That
we've
was the
been accused of
accusation.
being one and the same.
You know what this is.
What?
Where's my tinfoil hat?
You need a
It's the
tinfoil
bots. It's the bots.
hat. Yeah, yeah, that's it. It's the bots, Justine. Well,
Justine, if a white van pulls
Oh,
up outside
Lord.
your house, don't get inside.
so Justine, what we're talking about is, I mean, the branding thing is an issue, but it's the whole first of all, before we get into the clones and the bots, it's the idea that that this branding person thinks that their efforts are far more important than the results. And so that seems to sum up this group that is adamant that they want the name changed with and ignore the history of the school, et cetera, et cetera. And they're all on this rah-rah wagon, but there's no data they're not, it's all anecdotal and there's no data.
Look, the schools that, okay, the school names that work, they're tied to the land in some way, or if it's like, a new up and
The
coming,
history.
yeah, it's the history. But if you have like an online university, I mean, it's like the funny stuff. I think I know that there's a college in the Mississippi Delta. It's called Moorhead Trojans.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's cool on a t-shirt. And no, people won't even go to that school. And they're like, oh, I want a shirt that says that.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the guys love the perverted shirts.
What about Delta State and the Fighting Okra? Ian loves his Fighting Okra hat.
Right. Yeah. There's nothing there's really nothing in the name that ties it to anything personal. It's not emotional. And that's what grabs people. That's what branding's all about. I would expect Laura to know that. And maybe she does. But the issue was when there were concerns raised, it was met with hostility, immediate hostility. This is a personal attack. Yeah. And I that's when I got involved, because I know Shannon personally, and I know that she can come across as a jerk sometimes, but
no, it's blunt. I'm not a jerk. I'm blunt.
Well, I mean, some people say that and say, "Oh, she's so mean," but it's not that. It's she wants the best for her community, and so she's going to push you. She's going to see what you're made of. But she never personally attacked this girl. And then I think it was Laura. Is that her name? I always forget her name. Laura, maybe.
Yeah, Laura's the branding
posts,
person.
Yeah, she posts this long, drawn out thing about all of the things that qualify her, and nothing she really wrote, except for the fact that she was a babysitter when she was 18. I was super impressed by that. That made me feel a lot better about the hand.
That totally qualifies you for branding.
Yeah, I'm being.
I think she was being tongue in cheek about that. I don't think she really meant that made her qualified. I think she was being sarcastic. But
yeah, you're being nicer than I am, because that makes sense though. But it wasn't that. But I mean, she starts it with, thank you all for making me aware of the very personal and targeted attack. And I thought, I know she's not talking about Shannon, and she was.
Yeah, and here's the thing. They only want feedback if it's positive,
or if they agree with it.
There's no discourse in constructive feedback. Justine.
Well, I'm not impressed so far, simply because she's posting stuff that is inaccurate. She posted this wonderful little meme about class sizes 14:1. Well, the MUW class sizes for this year are 10:1. I don't have a source for that, but I've seen it in passing. But I had a source for 11:1. I posted that up on her meme, and nothing. I asked her some quite pointed questions about research. I asked her for specific research questions. I asked her, I'll get back to you. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Where's her business license?
Well, I asked who hired her. Was she a university hire or was she a foundation hire? I've asked her.
You've asked twice.
I asked her in a message too. I asked her, I don't know, maybe 3 days ago in a message. I also sent her proof of the cloning.
Oh, no, she disparaged that. She said it was a similar photo. It wasn't the same photo on the LinkedIn profile compared to the scam profile. It's the exact same. Absolutely exact. I checked that myself.
You know what?
I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you know what just was hilarious to me? No one accused her, Laura, the marketing branding girl, of cloning anything. Nobody said that. And then she felt the need to say, I don't know how to clone. If I knew how to hack, I'd be a lot richer. Laura, tell us that you cloned the profiles without telling us you cloned the profiles. Like, nobody said you did.
Well, or someone in her inner circle. It really doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter if she did it because she's supposedly the professional. But it really doesn't matter that it has happened. What it what matters is the fact that it exhibits exactly that a person who's been put in charge of this important task has an inability to process or answer probative questions. She can't address
Absolutely.
facts. Are you okay?
Yeah, I was expecting it to be a drink that it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, different kind of
There's
flavor.
no, they can't answer questions about facts or data. And
They're just me. They talked when this is where I'd had it. They were calling Shannon a bully and a mean girl, and I was just like, you've gotten this group of friends together, and you've gotten on on this post you've made, and you're putting Shannon down like, and that's where I went into that spill about it's not wise to try to put down someone who is offering you a way of it's civil discourse. This is required for a democracy.
they don't
Otherwise, we
want
end up.
discourse. Have you not figured that out? They
You
don't
don't.
want they
Well,
don't
I don't
want
know that. I
discourse.
mean,
They
I
want
think this is.
they want an echo chamber and they can have
Oh,
it.
they do. Yeah. Okay. I thought you said you didn't want
Oh,
discourse.
heck no. No, I
No.
want civil discourse.
Um.
But I'm going to be direct.
But it.
It's
Oh,
not a personal
absolutely.
attack. It's just the
I
question that's uncomfortable.
And that's what I was trying to explain to him. And I told him, like when I first met Shannon, we worked together on a project. There was a day she pissed me off so bad. But I look back on that and I cannot imagine where I would be right now without that because I was, stuck in my own little echo chamber. Like all my friends who love me thought they were doing me a favor, just echoing my beliefs back to me. And as it turned out, like Shannon was right and she pushed me. And I cannot imagine if where my project would be. I mean, it's going to go to heights it never could have otherwise. If Shannon hadn't had the guts to say, Missy,
Well,
you need to look at this.
well, we're all three adult professional women. You, me, Justine. We've all had a profession. We've all been in the professional world. Justine,
Correct.
in your many positions all around the world, Justine's worked in New
Ah,
Zealand and Scotland and Wales and Australia.
Australia. I have actually worked in Australia.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you couldn't
Oh, I
deal,
worked in America as well. I
well,
did
that's
work
right. I
in
forgot about that. You were in
Florida. I was
Florida.
an
Yeah.
occupational therapist, registered and licensed in the state of Florida, and people didn't believe that either.
Okay. Well, whatever. They're going to believe what they want to believe. But my thing is if you didn't have conflict resolution school skills, would you have lasted very long in either of you in any of the jobs and professional positions? I cannot tell you the times I've had my behind. I just got my behind chewed tonight by a client, and I just went, "Well, that's your opinion," but I know. I mean, it was like, okay, you're
but
right,
but
but I
Shannon,
got
had
you
they
results.
yeah, but
They
if
didn't like the
they
questions I asked, so they chewed me out, which is fine. I don't care. They can chew me out. They're the client.
you can I mean people will say especially men, it's not personal, it's professional. Well, everything is personal, but you have to stay professional and not let the emotions overrun you to the point that you can't think clearly and do your job. I
Well, and I knew that I was getting the job done and I was getting them the results they wanted.
Right. When I started Southern Bell, when I was hired as director of marketing, there were people going for that job that were 10 years, 20 years older than me, and they did not like it one bit. And so it I mean, they really made it hard for me at first. And so I was like in a position where I had to win people over. I did not care if they were mad about something that I implemented. It was, yeah, if I had not had those conflict resolution skills, and it comes with being humble and understanding there may be a perspective that you can't see. And so you've got to consider that it's never going to be a situation where anybody's going to be successful if you're just constantly well, we're right. If you don't believe us,
Right.
then we're
Right.
going to block you. We're going to block you.
Yeah. So Justine,
Sorry, I actually saw that. That was actually written on a message. Well, I didn't
Yeah.
see it. My
Well,
friend showed me it. Well, yes, I saw it because my
that
friend
was to
showed me
me.
it.
And they said all this stuff about me and then they've deleted all their comments. Like, why did they do that? I don't,
No, they haven't. They've blocked you.
they
somebody
blocked
One
must have
actually
blocked me.
said, one of them actually said, one of them actually says on the thing,
A lot. One of them
uh,
was telling me, well,
I
one of
don't
the
like the way you're talking to me. Don't use girl. Are you Shannon?
no, that okay,
Don't
yeah,
worry, I'm going to block you anyway. Yeah,
right.
that one was.
Okay, so well, I have the
I
screen.
saw that. Oh,
Well, one, okay,
She's blocked me.
okay, well, that's why I
She's
can't see it. But
blocked
then,
me too. So it's just funny. I mean, it's mean girl. I feel like we're back at middle school,
well,
and why are we analyzing middle school?
what's so funny is the initial comment when I was saying, Shannon, people like Shannon are important. Otherwise, we're just going to have a lot of the same, unless that's what y'all want. And then I was like, and I beg of you, especially the most outspoken, please look into logical fallacies. Like, stop with the appeals to emotion. And this woman replies and tells me she's a teacher and she knows about logical fallacies. But then she says, "You lost me at bots. So, too long, didn't read." Like telling me that my post was too long and she didn't read it. So I took it and I ran it through a program. It took 3 minutes to read the entirety of it. And I was like, really, do you teach your students? She was like, I teach classes on logical fallacies. I was like, do you tell them that if something is too long, didn't read, that they don't really have to worry about that? They can just read what they want. And then is that what you teach in your profession? Like if that's what you do? But yeah, okay, so what we're here for tonight is the girl who said, she kind of came at me. She was, maybe I read into it the wrong way, but it seemed like her tone was a little, and Shannon, I think Justine, you may have been the one that took the screenshot of it, but Shannon is actually the one that sent it to me. And it was so mean. What'd you say? Oh yeah. This was Miss Jerry Lynn, right? Missy, you're acting way too familiar, almost like Shannon would attempt to speak to me. Hey girl, try to keep this straight. I'm a stranger on the internet and you don't know me, remember? Just like the others, your access is about to be cut off. You know how someone
That's
you
the one.
Oh, here's the one. We have someone analyzing the writing styles. Maybe you and Shannon, Justine, and Sharon better start comparing notes. Here's what I've got to say about that, and I've got a lot to say about it. I've had my work plagiarized before because
Why am
I'm an
I not
author.
surprised?
I'm an author. I've had work plagiarized, and it was a nightmare. And you can absolutely, it's called stylometry. You can analyze text by numerous authors, and you can decide if the writing style is so similar that it's the same person. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You have to have for it to be scientifically valid at least 2,500 words per persona
Entry.
that you're
Yeah, per
analyzing,
entry.
for it to be scientifically valid. And so I'm like, you mean to tell me, Jerry Lynn, that you guys are putting resources into hiring someone to analyze the language?
They're probably
Like
just going to put it in
and,
turnitin.com. They're probably going to put it in turnitin.com. Come on, let's
right.
be
And
honest.
then what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you get the results? Because we're not the same
Well,
person.
so this all goes back to they're mad because I called them out a week ago and said that they are employing bots and cloning people's pages. Justine's page has been cloned. A lady
Correct.
just messaged me. I presume it's the real lady. She was like, I'm so disgusted. I'm getting off Facebook. Another one is this guy Pedro Acevedo. He said they sent somebody said I am real, and then they sent me some articles that showed his name. And I was like, okay, if you're real, all right,
Here-
my bad.
Here's
But
yeah.
wait,
Go ahead.
but I said he came back and he started acting like a troll. So I said, get on Zoom, do what we're doing, and prove you're real. Take a piece of mail, like we did, take a piece of mail with your address, with your name and your address on it, with part of your address, and prove you're real. Prove that you are who you are. Yep,
That's me.
there you
It's an old
go.
fashioned check.
And
Yep.
and have and join me and listen. And that is the quickest way. Don't want to do it. So that tells me I don't think he's real.
Well,
I think somebody has cloned his page. And we
well,
know that Saladino Medine is not real. We've proven that.
there was a Latina girl, and I say Latina because she was very exotic looking, and she was liking and she was commenting, and I cannot find my screenshots. But
Octavia Salas.
maybe I went to links that Laura provided of the influencers she had helped to build up. And one of the comments on one of her influencers was the same girl who's commenting on the W. And how are those two connected? And look, I'm saying this now, take it with a grain of salt, because I'm not gonna. I
Well,
will come with receipts because I have them. But yeah, I mean that's
yeah,
classic
but
bot behavior.
yeah, that well, it's classic when you hire somebody to buy likes.
Shannon, I found out you do not have to be the admin of a page. Like I've looked into this deep.
Yep,
You can buy bots and likes for any
yep,
page.
yep.
And look, the algorithms, they don't like that. They don't like it
No, they
one bit.
don't.
They look out for things like that. But yeah, trying to make you out like you were the crazy bot lady when I was sitting there going through it with you, like, yeah, these are bots. These are
Yeah.
bots.
So Justine, explain your experience.
Oh man, Justine's got a bad. I do not envy her.
Oh, the latest. Oh, the latest is that she got a lawyer to dive in and
Allegedly a lawyer.
And do what?
quote a Mississippi statute from Justia Law or Justa Law, whatever. Big deal. Anybody can do that.
She's
Not
not an, I don't think
impressed.
What was her statute?
Um,
Just out of curiosity, do you remember?
I don't really care because it's like a minimum fine of $250 up to $1,000, maybe 10 days in jail. And this lawyer chick was threatening me, right? And it's like my response is basically, as you can hear me, it would not be in the public interest and it would be too expensive to carry on with legal action here. I mean, you want to try and get me from Scotland over to Columbus, Mississippi? Who's going to pay that?
Can you see Eddie Hawkins going, I volunteer to go on this one?
Well, the thing is, show me a statute that limits free speech in Mississippi. Show
There's
me a
not one.
There's not one, and that's all this is. It's just
It's about this profile picture that keeps getting put on.
She doesn't like that she's taken the other girl that Laura she took Laura's profile picture and pixelated it because she wanted to see how long it took.
No, I didn't. I
Oh,
didn't.
you didn't.
no.
I
That
didn't.
was very
I
clear.
didn't.
Who did
No.
you take it from?
Okay. I have a cousin, not an American cousin. She's currently in New Zealand. She's a doctor. Well, when she was a med student, we've got photos of her, right, with pink hair. And she was castigated by senior medical staff when she turned up on ward rounds in Britain back in the 80s with pink hair. And basically, I doctored an image, and I heavily doctored an image, and it's my cousin.
Oh, I love
And
it.
basically, my cousin,
And they think that's Laura.
yeah. So, and it was stolen off me, right? And then I saw the profile with a pixelated image. So I pulled that off. And the way I pulled it off was, again, I don't have access to this profile because I am blocked. So all the screenshots that you see of people who've blocked me are from my friend. She's not even my Facebook scammer put up. And I was like, right, play the scammer at their game. I'm going to steal that photograph. The lawyer's gone big on that, how I stole the photo. Now, I didn't know that was Laura's
I don't think she's an attorney.
photo.
I don't think she's an attorney.
Oh, Nikki Breland? She's a lawyer.
Is she really a lawyer, or is she just saying she's a lawyer?
She appears on her profile pictures to be a lawyer. There are articles she has done. The Nikki Breland, if it's the same Nikki Breland, has published research articles. And she's been involved in different areas of law.
So she's in intellectual property and entertainment and sports law. I'm going to tell you, free speech exists. And no, they're not going to do it. It's not like you're taking the image and making money off of it.
No,
well, the other thing is that Laura was harassing me and telling me I was doing the wrong thing. I was doing this, I was doing that. The image appeared a month ago, which is bullshit. She doesn't know how Facebook works with profile
Good
changes.
Lord.
And she was basically harassing me. And I said, harass the other profile,
True.
harass the scammer profile, tell the scammer profile to remove the pictures. So this lawyer pulls something off just a law, and I responded, and I basically said, you tell your lawyer to threaten the other profile. I've provided the links to that profile. You can provide links without being able to get through on those links because they come to a dead end because I'm blocked. But I've got the profile link to that scam profile, that spoofer profile, and I've categorically stated, you get that lawyer to threaten her. Sorry, Shannon, I know you're an MUW graduate, but honestly, this little club that they've got where they block people before they get a chance to respond to them because they're offended.
Well,
I mean, and
that's
they don't have critical thinking skills. It's
well,
obvious from their.
well, that wasn't how I was taught at the W. I don't know where this has come from. It's a lack of logic training, and it's people who can't deal with tough
There's no critical
conversations.
thinking.
Oh
There-
my
there's
Mhm.
none.
Okay, yeah, here's the thing. What she's citing is Code 45. Notwithstanding any other provision of law, any person who knowingly and without consent impersonates another actual person through or on an internet website or by other electronic means for purposes of harming, intimidating, threatening, or defrauding another person is guilty of a misdemeanor. The clone account is the one that's guilty of the misdemeanor, not
Not
you.
you. Not us. We didn't clone anything. It's just
She
too
said,
These people are too
So anything
exhausting.
like that is harassment. They're harassing me.
well, and I'm not trying to bully anyone. I was simply trying to say, look, guys, and I was nice. I even encouraged Laura. I said, go right back at Shannon, spar with her, ask her what qualifies her to ask you about what qualifies you. Like, you would be surprised at the ally you may find in her. Because I know Shannon and I know that it's not personal and it is not honestly at the core, Shannon wants everybody to be better, really, in her heart. She's not a
Well, I
terrible
want the
person.
school to succeed. I don't want them to screw up.
Absolutely. Exactly. And if that means Laura needs a little assistance doing better, you're all for it. And that's what I told her. I said, we're not attacking you, but they just kept getting more and more mad. And that's the thing about arguing on the internet. And I've known this. They are stuck in the way they believe.
You're
They
not
think
going to
that's
change
right.
their minds. You're
Yeah,
not.
no, we're not.
But
But I'll be damned. Sorry, I didn't mean to say a bad word. I'll be darned if somebody's going to accuse Justine or anybody of impersonating of someone just to cause harm. Like, that clearly had nothing to do with any of us.
well, and the fact that the impersonation is not Justine, it's the clone. And she's
Mm-hmm.
not, and to whatever photo you use does not,
Look,
it does,
I could put a photo
it doesn't make you,
of that person.
yeah.
I
And people use other people's photos all the time. Photo, like I have a photo. I know that they love this one. It's from a meme. It's a woman with hairy armpits, and so somebody went back in my stuff and found it. That's not me. I don't even look like that. It's the
right.
fact that the picture isn't me and it was taken out of context.
Exactly, that they do that a lot. But I can vouch for you that you do shave your armpits. I've seen it.
That's true.
So,
You do. I do run around in tank tops all summer, but anyways.
put a famous YouTuber as my profile picture, and it doesn't mean I'm saying that I'm that person. It's just I admire that person, or
Uh-huh.
um, yeah, that's kind of insane. But that girl telling me, you do realize that we're having your words analyzed, and I'm sitting here knowing what it's like to analyze words and writing styles because I went through hell having my research plagiarized and published to Amazon before I could even publish my book, and it was a nightmare. So to tell me that you're gonna have this looked at and you're gonna have it analyzed, and then what though? What then, Jerry Lynn? What are you gonna do? You gonna take us to jail because we had opinions? And
Yeah.
at the end of the thing, I basically ended up saying, so if I agree with you guys and I get behind you on everything you're saying, we can be friends. We can still talk. But if I
Well,
have an
then you're an
opinion,
echo chamber. And I
right.
don't live in an
Yeah,
echo chamber.
but that's basically what they're saying. You will be blocked. All I did was say, hey, maybe we should look at this from another perspective. We
That's,
all have
yeah.
we all have the same thing. We want what's best for the school. We want what's best for Columbus. So that's where you start was when you have civil discourse. You
Well, you
find
and I have butted heads, and it's okay. We don't I just go.
girl, I want
Justine and I definitely have busted heads. I mean,
I want the friend who is never going to let me walk out of my house wearing jeans that make my butt look way too big. And you would never let that happen to me.
no, I wouldn't.
And I wouldn't let it happen to you. And I don't want friends who just like tell me what I want to hear.
Yeah,
None of
and
us should. Where's the
when
progress?
Justine and I mean, we're first cousins. We've known each other, most of our lives, if not, well, all of hers, most of mine. But it's not, I'm a little bit older, not much. But Justine and I don't always get along. I mean, that's what makes it fun. We,
It's the beauty of having everything fall apart and then finding common ground, each of you realizing where you were wrong, the humility's there, and you're like, man, and then you grow from that. If we're not
yeah,
growing, what's the point, you know?
yeah. But Justine also knows I'm a ride or die. It doesn't mean I won't out, after I'll support her, and then I'll go back and I'll go, you know what, let's rethink this. And
Yeah.
I know she'll do the same to me. She'll call me out on my shit.
Yep. And I want friends like that always. Yep. Well, I mean, it's like I'll call you out and we're going to talk this through, but I always have your back and you never have to look behind you to know that. I don't
Correct.
like say you and I had a tiff and we were having it out. I would never for 1 second worry that you weren't still 100% on my side.
Well,
You
of course.
just have the guts to tell me if I'm doing something stupid.
But that was absolutely fine. And you actually corrected it on a post.
Oh yeah,
But,
I know what she's talking
you
about.
know, you
You dropped
corrected
out.
yourself on that post.
That's
Yeah,
yeah. You dropped out for a second, Justine. I made a post that wasn't accurate, and
fair enough.
Justine came and corrected. She was like, and I went, oops, and I went in and I corrected it because I do
Yeah.
care.
I know you do. I know you do. And some people don't care. They just want to fight and they want to push their beliefs down your throat. And I believe in Columbus. I think we can do better. And that's what I was trying to say the whole time. I mean, I was just like, if we all just met in the street and had a coffee and talked, we'd probably be fast friends. You never
Well,
know.
let me tell y'all what I did today.
Okay, tell me.
Justine, you'll appreciate this. I promised you I'd tell you
Go
this.
on.
So I went
Good.
on campus today. And I don't know if you remember, David Brookings was on Facebook and he didn't like me asking very pointed questions asking about data. And so the
And
question,
I asked him too.
yeah.
And he didn't,
So,
he thought I was
so,
a fake.
so then he said, well, who are you, meaning me, and what is your connection to the university? And so I wrote a lengthy paragraph where I said, what is my name? And that I had 2 degrees from the university, one undergraduate and one graduate degree. And that I had grown up on Third Avenue South, et cetera, who my parents were, what I had done, where I had lived, the jobs I've held at different universities around the country, et cetera, ad nauseum.
Mhm.
Well, right after I hit send, I could see that he had seen it and he deleted his comment, which deleted my answer.
Go
So
ahead.
then, but
No,
no,
it's
wait a
still
minute. He
up.
didn't
It's
delete
still
it.
up.
He didn't delete it. Excuse me. He blocked me. And then I stated that I had screen captures of everything that had been said because I anticipated him blocking me. And so he could block me all he wanted, but I still had screen captures. Suddenly I got unblocked, which is fine. So then he did say, you're welcome to come to my office and let's have a conversation. So this morning I was at his office at 9:30 waiting. He was talking to someone and I sat and patiently waited and I went and he walked out and I said, hi, my name is Shannon Evans and stuck my hand out and he literally blanched. Now, to his credit, we did go in his office and we talked and then I discussed different ways to do institutional research related to admission numbers and those who decide not to attend and how you can go about collecting that information as I have done that at other colleges and universities. And then he had to go to a meeting and I thanked him very much. And he said, well, I hope you'll come back and talk to me again. And I said, yes, I plan to make an appointment to come visit you again next week. And I plan to. And I then went on
Good.
and visited someone else, but that had nothing to do with Facebook. That was just, I just wanted to go stop in and see them. But I thought it was brilliant to that for someone to think that I'm not real and that I
Well,
don't care
yeah.
and that I
Well, or
don't have
that
a background.
I think that it was that they all thought we were either you were every one of us or something like that. Like we weren't our own people. Like we like oh Shannon couldn't possibly have support. It has to be her. Well, no, actually, like a lot of us think like Shannon does, and what's it, Jerry Lynn? You were completely unaware of the number of messages Shannon gets in her inbox thanking her for speaking out. Because not everyone, you and I talked about this, Shannon. Not everyone can speak out because they're in danger of losing their job or you know and so if people only knew the number of messages you get thanking you and the number of people who were in complete agreement with you and Justine and I mean my dog in this fight was just the complete lack of understanding of how you interact with someone you disagree with. It's
Well,
just
here's the thing that I found interesting. Justine and I watched a a U.S. I mean a state legislator's Facebook page. He put out a call for
I
your
saw that.
opinion on the name,
I voted, yeah, or
and
commented, I think, yeah,
yeah, and his name was Clay Mansell,
very
and
handsome. Yep.
And
yeah,
I can't actually access that page
because
because
she's
I'm
out of the country.
outside. Yes, I'm outside. Mm.
So what we found was that the only so it was vast like 90%, 90 to 95% of the people who responded were responding negatively to the name change. They did not want a name change and they wanted not the name that they've chosen. It's not that they don't want the name change. They didn't like the name that was chosen, Windbridge, and they were very vocal about why. The ones who were supportive of the name change were um, either employees or staff members of the university, or they were clones of mine and Justine's Facebook. And so, or not mine, it was Justine and someone
Yeah.
else. And then they would it was just ridiculous. And so one of the women who was cloned, her name's Jessica Bach. Is that right?
That's
Yeah.
right. Yes.
Yeah. And she was irate, and I don't blame her. And she contacted Mansell. I know one of the clone uh, that Saladino Medine was making horrible accusations about people on that train of
Yeah.
discussions and just saying just horrible things like attacking them personally, and it had nothing to do with their opinion. And it
That's
finally it
ad
took them
hominem. Learn
it
your
it,
logical
it was it
fallacies.
was very
Yeah.
ad hominem, and finally uh Facebook never would take it down. I think
Well,
Ansel himself took them down. He was so I had a phone conversation with this legislator. He's kind of appalled at what happened on his page, but
I'm not
he
surprised.
but he did say, it's overwhelmingly against the name. Oh, your puppy.
I know this is Stella. She keeps calling
Oh,
family meetings and then she passes out. I'm like, how are we ever going to accomplish anything here if you keep going to see? Yes, that's Stella Louise.
So
Just insanity.
I have a
Well,
friend I spoke to. I have a friend I spoke to last night. She's Scottish. She lives in the States. Um, and I told her a little bit about what was going on. And she said that she's got some resources if, and I said, well, if we really need some extra resources, yeah, because I don't want to waste time with people who are really high up in the intelligence field. But if we have to, we can. But I just want to acknowledge my friend's been brilliant and basically said, I can ask them right now.
well, but here's the thing, y'all. How sad that the university has allowed this to continue with university employees are on this on
Oh,
these
what?
different pages,
Oh,
and
no.
they're not, what would you say? There's no transparency that they work for the university and what they're doing, but two, that someone who's been contracted to do this work is acting so unethically. And I'm not saying that she is doing the cloning, but it's the
Bullying. It's
unethical bullying behavior,
yeah. If you disagree with me, then then you're out. You know.
and refuses to answer any actual prudent probing questions. None.
Mm, yeah.
I mean, something so simple as who employed you, the university or the foundation? That's an easy question. Who do you work
Mhm.
for? Why is it a big secret? Why is this being treated like a secret? There's just too many
Yeah.
things going on. So is it a Nepo hire?
That's what it looks like, and I would love to be proven wrong. You know. Um, we just want to, and I know this is true for Shannon. It needs to be done fair. Everything there is a total lack of transparency, and like I have up to this point, I haven't really been involved in going to the meetings or the what is it when you get to go and you get to listen to them argue? Is that city council
Thanks.
meeting?
Debates. There haven't
No,
been any. Do you understand? The university goes, ta-da! And we're all supposed to clap and go, yeah,
and this
I'm
is a
sorry.
state funded college, correct? This is state funded.
Yes,
This
exactly.
is our
So what
taxpayer dollars.
so what I understand is that this is still in committee and it hasn't even made it out of committee yet. So they're acting as if
What's happening?
you're upside down. Oh, there you
I
go.
don't. I mean, I have no idea why though. Sorry, sorry. maybe maybe the insanity of all of it.
But yeah, well, it kind of goes with it. But the point is that this should not be a big secret. You know,
No, and it shouldn't be such a problem just to answer a simple question. It's not an attack. If you're curious, that's great. You should remain. I think people should remain curious. Always ask questions.
well, Justine, thank you so much for jumping on. I know it's, the bandwidth and all's not always easy, and I know my computer was acting up, so I'll have to go through and edit a few things to clean
We've
it
got
all
to
up.
get we've got to get Justine a t-shirt. We had a t-shirt made just for this. The "Thou shall not commit logical fallacies."
I'll
Well, I
send you
mean,
one.
yeah, we're gonna do one.
I'll
Of
send
course.
you one.
Yep. Anybody else can have one too. And we need to send her one of the
Oh, the Tom
Tom.
Bigby tales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I was thinking more about the certain unfriended by the
Oh,
by
By
the
Demaya.
printed by the mayor. Yeah, that's
Demaya.
the
That was
mayor. Yeah,
Demaya.
that I've started that one. I just didn't know yet like what direction I was gonna go. And then when I was like half tone.
I'll get you one, Justine, and I'll send it over for you. I should close up. I want to thank you both for coming and clearing up that we are real people. And I want to thank my listeners for coming to the Tom Bigby Tales. I know this one's a little bit disjointed and crazy, but you get three of us together and we go to town. I tell you, we could just talk and talk and talk. But honestly, I'm very grateful to both of you for being on my show. And thanks for joining me on this crazy journey that we seem to be on at the moment.
Exactly. I don't think I'm giving up. And I know you're not until
No,
you're
not
at
good.
least half straightened out here. Yeah, because there's a lot of cleaning up to do. And I sure do like to clean. So
Here we go. All
all
right.
right,
Well, thanks,
Shannon.
y'all. Good night.